Gaurav Sawant with me as well. Gaurav, as we see 2,000 of those workers who are right now pressed into action and they're coming into near completion, hopefully a safe evacuation of these trapped workers.
This very clearly is India's might coming together. Every agency in the country put their heads and heart together, virtually put their soul in this mission to bring out 41 trapped workers inside that tunnel that's being constructed. And India Today's Ashutosh Mishra has been reporting this story from ground zero, from day one. He's been our man on the ground for the past 17 days and counting, bringing us this huge development. And Ashutosh, it's still fingers crossed. So the workers are still inside. That last pipe has been connected. How soon before the first worker is brought out, and how are they being brought out? Is a stretcher being sent in? Are the NDRF workers going in? How will this process actually take place now? As we try and re-establish that link with Ashutosh Mishra, our man on ground, but Lieutenant General Harpal Singh, former engineer-in-chief of the Indian Army, he's also on ground. So you have the Indian Army teams, you have the Border Roads Organization teams, you have the ONGC teams, you have NDRF teams, you have international experts who've been called in, and of course they've also sought divine intervention. There were prayers that were happening every day. Machines were being used, Nabila, and along with the machines, you also had the rat miners who were finally pressed into service. When machines failed, it's actually the victory, or God willing, it's the victory of human endeavor, Nabila, that ultimately will work, Nabila.
You know, the rat miners, rat hole miners are basically, their activity is basically banned. You can't mine anymore here. They're coal miners. So they're really using intricate small tools, Gaurav, to actually mine through and dig through that pile of debris there. And that's what's really given them that kind of headway in the last 24 hours. It's given them a big thrust. And the irony of it, that a 25-ton auger machine, which was flown down from abroad, chipped. It broke while drilling through that debris there. So it was ultimately conventional methods that they've resorted to that's given them this breakthrough.
The traditional mining methods, extremely dangerous, but this was a risk that had to be taken, a risk to save lives of 41 workers trapped for the past 17 days and counting. Their morale was kept high, food was provided to them, water, medicines, conversations happening constantly. You had their own officials, their family members, members from the Prime Minister's office, the Chief Minister, various other officials talking to them constantly, boosting their morale, medical teams talking to them. But this is also about the human spirit. It's also about resilience, the effort that is being made. But of course, that last mile still needs to be covered in terms of bringing them out, Nabila. Equally important at this stage. So the machine's gone in. Now the effort is to bring them out.
You know, Gaurav, what's really made us anxious is that for the last 4 days, they've been almost completing this mission, saying that we're almost done. Another few hours, by tonight, it's going to complete. But that terrain is so challenging. We're looking at an area where there's constant landslides, rains there, cold weather conditions. And it's just a hilly area where to take equipment itself has become a real challenge. Almost all the machinery was airdropped. So one can only imagine that the kind of the slow process with which this evacuation process has gone on only due to this challenging terrain. And kudos to the 5 public sector teams, the army and the international experts who are on ground doing a fabulous job in ensuring that this has been a safe process through and through.
I want to bring in Ashutosh into this conversation once again. And Ashutosh, you've been covering this operation from day one. So, you know, there were times there was hope, and there were times there was despair when the machines would pack up, when efforts would fail, when family members, their morale would go down, but the workers continued. So Ashutosh, one, we can see these 40 plus ambulances lined up. What's happening right now? How long will this process take, Ashutosh?
Last leg of this operation in Gaurav. As we know, the breakthrough has been made. Another safe pipe need to be crossed the debris, and at least maintaining a distance of 3 to 4 meters from exactly the end of the debris. And this is essentially required to prevent those trapped workers during the evacuation from the suspended particles or the suspended heavy machinery, bolts or the iron rods which could be inside the tunnel. So once you have a 3 to 4 meter of a safe distance, immediately we have seen those NDRF workers with the special stretchers have taken, which is wheeled, and the ropes, the oxygen cylinders, LED strip lights, everything has been taken inside. So as we see on the front portals, all the ambulances are being sent one after one inside the tunnel. And what will they do is, once the NDRF persons go inside, they will first assess the situation, look at the physical condition, and then they'll take one after them on a wheelchair. And the other side, just toward the other side, at the front portal that is visible on the screen, the NDRF person will be pulling out using a rope the stretcher out. Once they cross the length of 57 to 60 meter of the extremely narrow and as narrow as 800 dia pipe, there will be doctors, team of experts, team of medical experts. They have taken special beds inside. So immediately after giving them some rest, there will be condition, there will be evaluation of the physical and psychological condition. And depending on that, they will be also, Gaurav, remember it's extremely cold here since this morning there was rain and extremely cold. So they could be potentially exposed to the physical condition of the extremely cold. They'll be given blanket. There are special warm clothes have been sent inside. And now you see one after one these ambulances, because the distance inside is nearly 200 meter where exactly the evacuation, the drilling was taking place. So at least the idea is to send 5 to 10 ambulances at a time inside. So this process of evacuation and then sending them to health facility can be expedited. In fact, special the police or the Scott police have been made on standby outside, who will be escorting each ambulances to the health facilities. So they never stop on the way, because there are markets, there are villages on the way. So there will be a special green passage, a green corridor will be created for this, the fleet of the ambulances who will be taking these trapped workers. Now, after the evaluation, every state have sent their nodal officers, particularly the states, those who have their workers trapped inside the tunnel. They are coordinating with the state and district authorities. With their family members, they'll be reaching to the hospitals, and that will be, Gaurav, trust me, no less than a festival, no less than Diwali, when they will be meeting their family members inside the hospital.